Welcome to the Success Pick and Mix podcast. I'm your host, Nicky Raby, a professional pick and mixer. I'm a personal brand coach, a speaker, an actor, a creator, and a podcaster. I'm on a mission to help you find and create your version of success. Your pick and mix of life and business on your terms. A blend that complements your personality, your goals, and your circumstances. Since 2018, I've been sharing interviews and mini episodes to help you unlock your next step, to make it real and make it happen. Round here, we dream big. We go for the ideal version. We talk about money and make moves our future selves would be proud of. This podcast is free and available for you whenever you need it. So do rate, review, and subscribe for new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices and availability, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests. Now, on to today's episode. In today's episode, I'm talking to Bex Walker, who is the owner of Bexfast. And last year, she was named London's Hottest Food Entrepreneur 2017 by Levi Roots and Westfield Shopping Centre. She's a mum of one, and she started her all-natural vegan breakfast company in 2015 after changing her unhealthy lifestyle in the hope that she would become a positive role model to her daughter, Tyler. Bex has the most amazing Kickstarter campaign live at the moment. It finishes this Sunday at the end of November, so do check out the description box. There is so much information about it, and it's so fascinating actually to watch her video, and she shares lots in the episode about how she's really built this company from her kitchen. She has a fridge in her hallway, she has all the things, she's doing all the things, so she's really hoping to move and upscale everything in January. So do support if you can. I hope you would come and join in the conversation over on Instagram at Nicky Raby, and please rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff over on iTunes. I really appreciate it. I love receiving your messages and your emails about how much you love the podcast, and I'm almost recorded all of the episodes till the end of the year, and we're hoping for that 1 million plays still, and I'm excited for next year and what we're going to do and how we're going to make it bigger and better, and obviously keep all the essence of the good stuff that we've created. But I just wanted to thank you once again for all your support. Anyway, here's the episode. Enjoy, and it may just make you hungry. Bex, welcome to the podcast. Thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Me too. You've been on my list for a while, and then your campaign came up, and I was like, oh my goodness, I've got to talk to you. So tell me what you do. Tell me about your company and where you're up to and how it began. All the questions.
Oh my gosh, there's so much information. So basically, I'm a mum. I've got a 7-year-old daughter. And I run a sustainable vegan breakfast company. So everything comes in glass jars. It's all whole foods. There's no refined sugars or chemicals, but they all taste like dessert. So it's basically cake for breakfast, which, you know, everybody wants. So I like it. But so, yeah, it's just been a real journey, really. You know, I started out making just little recipe videos on my Instagram. And then a few people were asking to buy what I was making. And then a while later, a friend started a boot camp, and I started selling them there. And then people just started showing up from the internet at like 8 o'clock in the morning to come and buy them. Then I got them into a few shops. And then I won London's Hottest Food Entrepreneur of the Year last year. And then I had a pop-up in Westfield Shopping Centre in January this year, and then in February I took everything online and started sending the breakfast pots out across the UK, which is very exciting, but it's all done from my kitchen at home at the moment. I'm like the only person. I have, you know, people that help me out every now and again, but most of the stuff is just me. And now we're doing the Kickstarter campaign to raise £20,000 to move into a proper production kitchen, finally get my house back.
Can you imagine? You're just going to be like skipping up and down your hallway, galloping and polkering with your husband, going, yeah, woo, let's do this. So let's go back. Like, how have you always been an entrepreneur? How did it begin? You starting on this journey? Oh, the J words come out already.
Well, do you know, I never really thought of myself as entrepreneurial, but now that I look at, you know, what it takes to run a business, and I think actually I probably always was a little bit like that. I used to be a singer and songwriter, and I started really quite young, and I got into it, you know, like 15, 16. And actually, I guess I was really building my brand from that age, you know, like you have to like write the music and you have to produce great songs and great vocals, and you know, then you're the performing side of it, and then you have to kind of sell yourself to other people to get them to, you know, want you on your records and stuff. So yeah, I guess it kind of started with that. And then once I'd had my daughter, I actually got offered 2 deals with record labels the week I found out I was pregnant. And then
it's always the way, right?
But I felt like it was kind of an obvious test. It was like everything you've ever wanted. Oh, this crazy lifestyle with, you know, like a baby that I was, you know, 23. I was 3 months pregnant by the time I found out. It was, you know, a lot to take in, but just somewhere in my heart, I knew it was the right thing. So then I, you know, I had my husband signed a record deal when she was like 5 months old. And it was quite painful for a while because I think I'd only ever really imagined myself singing for the rest of my life, and I didn't really know what to do with myself. And then I got into exercise. I thought, right, that's it, because I used to be like quite unhealthy. I think the music industry is, you know, quite easy to, you know, I was always smoking, always drinking, always partying. You know,
the food is always like from a petrol station, isn't it? It's that thing of like, what can it be? We had my friend Aruba Red on the podcast a little while ago, and she was just saying like, there's just a lot of like, you know, kind of last minute sort of stuff, or like, it's very spontaneous lifestyle, isn't it?
Definitely. And you've probably like not got loads of money because somebody hasn't paid you for a show or whatever. So you're just like, what can I eat? It's going to cost me like £2 and it's going to fill me out. So it's usually chips. So
mushy peas if you're feeling a bit wild.
Exactly, yeah. So, you know, so then once I'd had Tyler, I knew that I had a lot of traits that I didn't want to start slipping back into, like not being able to get dressed because I didn't think I looked good ever, you know, not being able to look at myself in the mirror because I just really disliked myself. And so I just thought, you know, I've got this brand new baby girl that's going to come into the world and I don't want to give her my insecurities. So I decided I was going to get healthy, but, you know, for someone that had been addicted to cake for quite a long time, I was like, this is going to be interesting. So I started running and I really fell in love with it, like almost straight away. I just really enjoyed the thrill of pushing myself to go a little bit further, a little bit faster. And then once I'd been doing that for maybe a couple of months, I was like, wow, like I've obviously lost a little bit of weight, but there must be more to this. Like there must be like, you know, what am I fueling my body with? So then I got really interested in nutrition. So I was like, well, maybe eating garlic bread like 3 times a day is probably not a great idea either. So then I just kind of got really obsessed. And I think because I didn't have anything else really going on, I had obviously this new little baby, but it was just kind of me and her at home, and I just really needed something to focus on and something to inspire myself with, and just kind of just general knowledge that wasn't, you know, like the Tweenies playing or, you know, bright.
So right. I was just craving like just a bit of information or something for me that you could. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you do. You have to have that, and it just started making sense. I was like, yeah, so if, you know, when I put these foods in my body, it makes me tired, it makes me, you know, not want to do anything. Why am I continuing to do that when really all I want to do is fuel my body in the best way? So I started cutting out things like refined sugars and what else? And processed foods. And so I started just eating a little bit healthier, a lot healthier really, and just really understanding why I was doing it. I really think that is the key to living a healthy lifestyle is understanding why you're doing it. Because I think with diets and things, like, you're just like, oh, I'm doing it because I want to be skinny, but you don't really understand what about that diet is going to make you lose weight, and how long it's going to make you lose weight for, or the effects it's having to your metabolism and things like that. So being like, fueling yourself with that knowledge is literally the key to making it a long-term lifestyle, really, because when you're having a cheat day, or when you're having some bad things, that it's okay because it's not forever, but you're going to eat all these other foods that are going to really give you nutrients and help your brain to work and your insides work. But then, I thought I'd known it all, and after about a year and a half maybe of running, I started to get severely ill, and my body just stopped working. I was probably the fittest I have ever been, had abs, I was like muscly, running 10Ks after the school run, and I was just loving life, but my body was just shutting down. Everything started to ache. I felt like I was vibrating inside. Everything felt numb. My arms were heavy. I couldn't put proper sentences together, and I was getting really worried, because every time I went to the doctors, they said that they thought it was a vitamin D deficiency, but I'd then been given like quite high dosages of vitamin D, and nothing was changing. They couldn't find anything wrong. I wasn't deficient in protein or any other, things like that. And so then we realised that it was, more likely to be chronic fatigue, and that it was more likely to be a long-term thing. And so then we had to, start thinking about life beyond like what I was capable to live right now, and that it might be kind of full-term. And I am quite stubborn, and I was like, right, I don't want to live like not being able to get off the sofa and not being able to pick up my daughter and falling asleep every time we sit down. I was just kind of a bit like, I don't want to just give up on myself to say, okay, please stop me. So I decided to do some more research, and what I found after digging around a bit was that a lot of people were living with chronic fatigue, but living like quite normal lives, but they were all eating like a plant-based diet. Now for me, I'd already cut down a lot on, like, I used to eat a lot of meat because I really enjoyed meat. Like, I was like a bloody steak lover, like I loved sushi. So the idea of not eating meat for me was never something I would have probably considered had I not got so ill. And I lived on eggs because I was obviously training all the time. Like, eggs were my go-to meal. But I thought, right, let me give it a go for a month. I'll try cutting out all animal products and see what happens. And although it wasn't like a miracle cure, I was starting to feel better after like 3 or 4 weeks. The feeling in my legs started coming back. I was awake a little bit more. So I thought, right, I'll keep it going. And so after 6 months, I was like, wow, really, feeling loads better. And now it's like 4 years later, and I just feel I have episodes very, very rarely now. So it's been kind of, that was my launch into, it was a very long story, sorry, of launching into what became Bexfast, because ultimately the ideas I had about food then became these little pots of whole food breakfast stuff that made me happy because it tasted great, and the food in it was really helping my body to stay strong and healthy and all of that good stuff. So
yeah. I love that you shared that story, because I think sometimes there's such a pressure for things to be an overnight success, or I just woke up like this, or I wrote it in my vision board and then it came true. And
I never believe people when they say that. I never believe that anything, some things are overnight, but I honestly just think you must have had, like, there was some kind of inception of a thought, that it must have been in there somewhere, that, because it's so hard to change the things that you have done for your entire life, to then try and change that overnight is almost impossible, I think.
Of course, and we're recording this in November, where every second day I'm seeing people buying, like, they've almost given up on 2018, like 2019 is going to be it's going to be the thing, because I bought the notebook and look at this new pen. But I'm always questioning, I guess, the coach in me of saying, like, but how are you going to bring that to life, and what are you going to do when things are not as easy, or if you have a rough day, or how are you going to keep keep that momentum up, because it can, it's all very well to write it down, but you have to kind of have a plan in action. So I guess how have you done this in terms of got to the point where you're like, it's so busy in my kitchen, I'm running this business and doing all of the things. How have you made that work logistically? What, because again, it's this thing that people just say, I run my business around my children. I have a full-time income with part-time hours. All this bullshit, basically, that people spout. And I think certainly when I used to see that, when I was sitting in a chair for 15 hours a day with my child, trying to get him to sleep or feed. I mean, he was nearly 10 pounds, so he was a hungry baby, and I was a hungry, tired, emotional wreck of a mother as well. But I guess, how have you managed to keep focused on the future vision, but also run the day-to-day of your business? Because you make it all yourself as well.
Yeah. I think I'm genuinely a little bit crazy. Hello?
Hello,
sorry. I'm a little bit crazy, but also I just really want it to work. And I think when you really want something, you kind of just give everything you can. Like, it is definitely sacrifice. I've sacrificed, for the first couple of years I had dedicated days to making them, which were like a Friday night, a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night. So for me, it was basically, you have to understand what your fundamental things are, like the things that can't change. Yeah. And that for me was being a mother. So like having my kid, and then she was in school. So it was like I had to work it around the school hours or when she was in bed. So, I do what I can in the day. It was often delivering in the daytime, getting back for the school run. Then doing like dinner, bath, bed, and then getting straight back in the kitchen, making everything. And then the next day I'd do it the same, get her to school, go delivering them, and just kind of pushing myself to the limit of if I want this to work and this and this needs to happen, then this and this needs to happen. And it's either got to happen within the school hours, or you're just going to have to, grab her after school and just convince her that it is some kind of adventure that she wants to go on.
When they're the most tired, emotional, unpredictable. When people say this, I just love that my life works so I can always do the school pickups or the drop-offs. They're the worst bits of the day. Oscar will be lying on the floor. He won't put his socks on or all that sort of stuff. But I guess you knew that vision of what you really, really want to build. And I guess this is what the Kickstarter is doing, that you want to have your own kitchen, that this is not just I'm making a few things on the side because I fancy a bit of pocket money. This is like a big deal. This is a big gig that you're building. Yeah,
oh God, pocket money would be amazing. I think that was the other thing. I think the other thing was sacrifice in money terms. It was I think as well, sorry, I'm really bad at telling stories, but there are so many key bits here. The reason that this business was built was because people wanted what I was making. So at every point I had no idea how to upscale any of it, but at every point I just kind of thought, okay, if people want this, well look, why don't I try and do this to make that happen? And then I'd save all the money. So from all of the pots that I'd make, I would just reinvest everything back into the business so that it could grow, so that every year you can buy insurance, and every year you can buy all the bits you need. And when I started, I was only using random jam jars and stuff that I had at home. And then when I bought my first, bulk boxes of jars, it was an amazing milestone. But then when you're then ordering 15,000 or, whatever at a time, it's a different thing. So you have to be prepared for the upscale. And for me, I was like, well, the only way that this can happen is if I make it happen. Nobody's going to sit here and give me X amount of money unless I'm prepared to give away some of the company. And at the moment, that just wasn't an option. So I was like, okay, we'll just keep reinvest my time. When a lot of my friends are out on the weekends, I am working. When a lot of my friends are not working in the week, I'm working. It's exciting though, because at every point people were like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. And I'm like, wow, I don't want to let anyone down, and I don't want
It's exciting, but I'm tired.
I'm tired all of the time. And, when people meet me, I'm just like, don't expect what you see on Instagram, because one, I'm 5'2", and everyone always says, oh my gosh, you're so much shorter than you look on Instagram. I'm forever disappointing people. But I'm just like, if I look tired, it's okay. Like, I'm so cool with it, because this is just genuinely my face now. Like, I'm just tired. But I love what I do, and I think there is so much to be said for enjoying your days. I don't have anything fancy. And I'm so in love with my little family, with my friends, and with this business I'm building. And it's exciting, where people get enjoyment from being able to go and buy certain amounts of things. I'm like, wow, we've hit another milestone today. Or, there's, I can't even remember the number, but there's like over 300 people that have pledged money to my campaign. And I've not met most of these people. I don't know them. And, they're like, we want you to win. We want you to do this. Like, you're inspiring us. I've had so many messages from people saying that they've started a business because they've seen me do it. And it's like, I really just think, like, I never ever had the intention to inspire anyone. I just thought that maybe I could feed some people and it would make them, want to eat healthier because they are enjoying the food that they're eating. But I'm very real with what I show on my Instagram, like the good times, the bad times. The times I'm up to 3 o'clock in the morning, working, and then Tyler's jumping on me at 6 o'clock in the morning to wake me up. And I just think people like the honesty of it, because I'm not trying to make it look like, fabulous me with this, great house and this, all this stuff. I have friends that do it, and their life is not the same in real life as it is online. And I just think I don't ever want to have to pretend that I'm living a life that I'm not. I would rather live a really badass, just passionate life that I love, and show all of that, rather than just make something up and try to look fancy, because I'm just not that person. That is far too much work. I think that's the real work.
Yeah.
Trying to keep up with what everyone else is doing. I was just like, I'd rather have way less, but be really content with where I'm at. And I think that's where it is right now.
And I think people are really craving that. As we're recording this, the week up until now, I've seen so many messages of people going, I don't know what social media is about, or I'm not sure what to share, or I've lost my way, or I've lost my mojo. And I think it always just comes back to stories and connection and investing, not necessarily in the latest jumpsuit, but actually in friendships and relationships and people who are going to spur you on and actually go on, kids, you can do it. And I love that point about investing, because sometimes people talk about money in very different ways, but that sense of investing in suddenly, your shopping list or the things in your basket, it's not like, right, buy oats today, buy 5 big bags of oats, but it's actually like buy 15,000 of something. Yeah. So not only is that a stretch in terms of the financials and the cash flow, but also it's such a stretch and an investment, and this comes up all the time in your mindset of really going, no, you can do this, it's going to be fine, take the leap. Like when I started this podcast, I had to buy the music for the intro, and I'm very keen that I wanted to do that properly and get the license and do it all above board, because I'm so passionate about paying creatives for what they do as well. But I almost bought the starter one, which would take me to only a small number of downloads, and then I suddenly had that moment of going, no, you're in this, you're in for the long run, you've got to make the investment. So I did it. I kind of squinted and closed my eyes a little bit, and then had to type my debit card number in again because I got scared. But I guess how have you made those leaps yourself in terms of your mindset and really championed yourself?
100%. It's so difficult, especially because that money could go into all sorts of other things you probably really need, and I've spoken to a lot of people. I'm quite lucky that a lot of my friends are entrepreneurs as well. And so every time I speak to them, I'm like, oh no, I can't do it. And my husband's very supportive as well. And he's actually quite blunt as well. So he'll just be like, look, I mean, you can pay this big price once, or you're going to be paying a smaller price, but, for the rest of the time that you're doing it, you might as well just do it. And it is really hard. Like, I think a few years ago, maybe like, not last year, but the year before, I really had to make that decision to do it all properly and get it done. I used to handwrite every single label. I'm just mental, like really, because there was no budget to start the business in the beginning. It's really been like makeshift until you level up. And so I used to handwrite all the labels, and it got to the point where I realised that people were going to continuously want to buy these. It wasn't just a phase or a fad. So I was like, right, I have to get proper labels done. And luckily enough, like I did some squiggles on a page, and my brother kind of got them into Illustrator and built the labels out for me. And then I had to like print the labels, and I still do it now. When I need to buy like lots of labels, I'm like, oh, I can't spend £500 because it makes me feel sick every single time. But then I'm like, well, I can either pay £500 now, which might bring me to like, a lot less in the bank account, and but you just have to think, right, is this a sensible decision? And yes. I think when you start wholesaling, like bulk buying things, you really just have to bite that bullet and just be like, well, look, I'm investing in 6 months' time, and like it's foresight. I think a lot of what I'm learning about entrepreneurialism, is entrepreneurialism a word? I don't know. Being an entrepreneur is that like foresight is kind of everything. You really need to kind of judge your journey and like judge where everything is going, but you can't really do it for the now. You have to kind of do it with a few months forward in your thinking, and be like, well, this might put me really close to the breadline right now, but in 6 months' time I'm going to be really thankful that I'm not having to spend out £300 or £400 at a time, because I spent the bigger amount of money in that one go. And I think it's like what you said, it also takes a weight off your mind afterwards. As soon as that click's gone through and you can't take it back, it's done. You've paid for the music, you've paid for the jazz. Like, it takes a weight off your shoulders, because you're like, I've done it properly. No one's going to send me a letter. No one's going to, call me up saying I owe them money. Everyone's been paid. And I do think that it's that whole ecosystem of love as well. I know it's going to sound really hippie, but I do think that, when you pay people properly for a job, or when you are being paid for a job, it's great, because you know that everybody's being treated fairly, and that relationship can then probably go forward. And it's like, you want to keep building connections, and you want to keep being able to pay people. Like, I had this thing where people were saying, oh, you could get somebody to work for you for free. And I said, well, I've had that before. But the thing with that is that when people do things for free, they'll do it on their own time. Yeah. You can't really like push them too much, because they are essentially doing you a favor. So now, even with friends, I'm like, what's your price? Like, let me pay you, because then I know that I can chase you up, and I know that we can set a deadline, and it's not going to be an emotional thing if things don't get done. It's just going to be a business transaction, which ultimately, it makes life a lot easier when a lot of your friends are doing jobs for you, or people that you know. So I can't even remember what the question was. Oh, but I do think you just have to kind of bite the bullet when you can. I think in the beginning as well, though, you have to allow yourself a bit of room for spending a bit more money than you normally would.
Yes.
If you have to spend £50 at a time, but you're going to have to do it a little bit more frequently. When you're very, very tiny, that's probably a lot more doable, because you probably don't have money in the bank to play with. But as you grow, like, it's great to grow with what's happening, and just keep leveling it up.
Absolutely. And there's something about that of, I know when I keep that money flowing, and when I continually invest in my business, or when I'm operating at a certain level, I take myself more seriously, and therefore other people do as well, because I can often tell when people are sort of not playing, but when they're not quite ready to make it a reality. So sometimes I've been to networking events and I'll ask somebody what they do, and they sort of go, "Oh, I'm doing this creative project," and it's all very apologetic or just in the early stages. But like you say, I mean, I'm not a Catholic, but I'm sure I've got some Catholic guilt in me somewhere, that sense of like being found out or somebody sending a letter or things like that. But so tell us more about the Kickstarter. How's it going? How's it been? What do you need? What do the next few days look like?
Oh my goodness! So we have 4 days left, and I stupidly got myself really busy in the time that I thought I would be able to spend. It runs for 4 weeks, and I thought that within those 4 weeks I would have had less work to do than usual, so that I could spend more time emailing people, calling people, whatever. But we've now got 4 days left, and I have been working way more than I ever normally do. So we are now. I'm just going to check the figure now. We've hit over £11,000, but which is incredible. Like, these are real people. That's real money. Like, people are like, I believe in you. I believe in what you're doing. And like every day, I'm overwhelmed by just how it's just so magical that people are like, I believe in you so much. I will spend, £25 on, making this a success for you, or like £100. Or, somebody put in £1,000, and I was like, you're just crazy. Oh, thank you. But it's crazy. So we're at £11,355 now. But we need to hit £20,000. If we don't hit £20,000 on Sunday, then we get nothing. So I've got a lot of calls to make tomorrow. And yeah, I still think it's totally doable. I mean, like, within the last 24 hours, I think we raised like 1,500 quid or something like that. And there's been a few days where, it's just been insane. Like, people are just like, okay, like, let's just go, let's just keep rolling. So yeah, I'm excited but terrified. It's a very big number to hit.
Yes. But I have every faith. I guess, what are you going to do when I'm saying future tense, when you get the money? What's it going to build?
So it will take everything out of my home, because like in our hallway, honestly, we must just look like hoarders when people come in.
Like that Channel 4 programme, like, I haven't seen my kitchen door since 1958.
Yeah, right, literally. So we've got like floor to ceiling boxes, there's a fridge in my hallway, there's, stuff everywhere. So the money will go towards a production kitchen, which I actually had a meeting about the other day. And there is a space in a kitchen for me, which I can move into in January, which is like the perfect time scale. So, when it's like, this is all aligned so perfectly, it has to happen now. So it will get us in there. It will mean that we can completely upscale, get some good equipment and ultimately some staff, because, I would quite like to not have to do everything myself anymore.
But can you imagine in January it'd be like, right guys, I'm just going to go to the Maldives for a couple of weeks, I'll see you in a bit.
Can you imagine? I'm sure someone must have done it, crowdfunded and then like not spent the money on what they've done. I would just feel like such a fraud. Literally, like, every penny is accounted for. It's just, I really want to move into retail as much as my products are available across the UK. When you order them from my website, I would really love to have them in places like Waitrose, Whole Foods, and, lots of independent health shops and things like that. People love them. Like, we never really get negative reviews about anything, and it's amazing how much people love them. And so that's where the money's going to go, getting everything out of my house, allowing my family to have their home back, And then, I don't actually know what we're going to do with the space. Like you said, we'll probably be skipping around. I'll probably end up buying a load of furniture to put in the
You'll end up in some like vintage car boot sale and come back and be like, look, I bought a horse, it used to be on the carousel, and now we'll be having a big leaping tiger or something.
I think I'd actually really like that.
Taxidermy action, like a whole farmyard.
Can you imagine? Oh gosh, yeah, I know. I'm quite controlling with it though as well. So I know that once I have staff, it's probably going to be really difficult for me to like actually let other people make them.
Yes.
I'm so particular about how they look, how they taste, So it's going to be a learning process for me. I've had people help me make them before, and I'm just watching them the whole time. But the idea is to be able to step back and just say, okay, I'm going to get back to the creative side of everything. I'll start having the conversations with, the supermarkets and stuff like that, and see what we can do with it. So that's
how exciting. And also I think it's that thing of you stepping into that new role of like trial and error, because I know when I've had people to help me that I've made a few mistakes where I've kind of tried to be the nice person and be like, oh, I don't mind, and then they like do something weird and I'm like, oh, actually I do mind, and then it becomes weird. And but also as well as women, I don't think we're taught how to, well, certainly I wasn't at school, like taught how to lead or to kind of do that in a non-scary way. But
without being called a bitch, I think that's the thing. Because I've actually got a couple of guys helping me with a crowdfunding campaign, and it is the first time I've had guys working with me, because I've always been like, oh, keep it all female, and just loved working with girls before. But I just found that when I was being assertive and, saying, no, actually, this isn't, the way that we need it done. It needs to look like this. It needs to, these are the conversations we need to be having. It would just be met with like, you could tell what was going on. Oh, why is she being a bitch?
Yeah.
Why is she talking to me like that? And actually with guys, they're like, okay, they're just very like to the point. And so I'm trying to learn from them how they're being assertive in situations, but not coming off as like emotional, because obviously it's my baby and I love it and I don't want to see it being messed up or whatever, but being objective in a situation where things could be done wrong or they might have been able to have gone better, but it's just learning how to have those conversations. But I am learning, because I just think it's not so much like we can't do it as women. I think we definitely can, but it's setting the boundaries quite early on. And I fall into being everyone's mate. I'm like, oh yeah, babe, I love you. Oh, come out for dinner and let's go for drinks. But I don't always think that when you're working with people that, I think you can get to that point, but I think it has to be like, you have to kind of set the premise first of like, this is my baby, this is important. I'm a really fun person to work for, hopefully, but the work is going to come first for a while, and and I just think there are ways of doing it that I haven't done in the past that I really want to get to grips with now, because I don't think we should be made to feel bossy or bitchy, for just caring and being passionate about something and wanting it to be the best that it can be.
Definitely. And I know that when I give clear instructions, like, it's much easier for everybody. Like, when things are all a bit vague, it's almost like, when everybody's stuck on the tube and the driver hasn't said anything of why the tube's stuck, like, the amount of people that start pacing and they're looking confused and they're looking at their watches and they start to get a bit angry and twitchy, and it's like, just say the thing. I've got one more question for you, which is, where would you like to be in 5 years, in business, in life? Have you got beyond January? What would you ideally like to be doing?
Well, number one, I would definitely like to have at least one more baby. I think that is one of the main factors behind this as well. I would really love to have more babies, but at the moment it's just like I couldn't do what I'm doing and be pregnant or, so yes, definitely babies on the cards. But business wise, I really want to be, sold in Waitrose. I want to have my pots in the refrigerated shelves of Selfridges. Whole Foods would be amazing. I just want it to be a product that people can go and grab one if they want one. They don't have to order it. They don't have to, wait 5 or 6 days to get them. They can just go to their local store and grab one. And I just think it'd just be so amazing. And I've got a couple of other additions to the product range that I want to start creating as well. So, just having a little bit more time as well. I think being able to work really strategically and work really well, but also have a little bit more time back, not to feel like I'm just on the go all the time. Although I also don't, I say this, I don't actually do very well with like having time off.
I don't think I'll ever be a lady that lunches who just kind of swans around the King's Road or anything. Not that that's my vibe at all, but yeah, going, I don't know what to do with myself today. I'm like, no, I've got a plan. I know what's happening.
Yeah, but then I think, I think that's making the most out of life. Like I just want every day to be a day well lived, I just want it to be like, yeah, I did some really cool stuff today, whether it's working or whether it's, going for a hike or doing something that I really want to do, like spending time with family that I haven't seen for a long time. But I really love working as well. And I didn't think I'd ever say that, because I think when I used to work for other people, I never felt like that. But now I really enjoy like creating, coming up with new ideas, getting involved with every side of the business. And just, it's exciting. And I think maybe I'll probably even go on to create some more businesses later on in life. But yeah, like I think family, spending more time with the family, having the breakfast pots available in some really cool supermarkets and in independent shops would just be the ultimate dream, and just
watch this space.
Yeah, and maybe some money. It would be nice to have some money.
Just a yacht, that would be great. Yeah.
Oh no, I wouldn't, like a little deserted island somewhere, somewhere where it's not people.
Oh, so nice. I saw a vlogger of whatever she was the other day, like on Bora Bora, and I was just like, why? And it was just like a really cold day and wet day in London today. I was like, I am in the wrong game. If people want to come and find out more and support and pledge and all that good stuff, where should they go?
Okay, so to find me, there's Bexfast.com, which is the website. There's at Bexfast _, so it's BEXFAST _ for Instagram. And then the Kickstarter, if you could just go and click on the Kickstarter page and type in Bexfast, and then just watch our video, because I think the video explains probably in a much smaller way what I'm trying to say here today. It's like, it's a got our story. You'll see my daughter, she's so cute, and just
she's so smiley. She always just looks so happy. Is she like that all the time?
She really is just a great kid. Like she's very energetic though, so I think the thing is, when you get tired, she doesn't get tired, and I think that's the only time it becomes a problem. But she really is. She's very happy. Obviously she has her moments like any kid, but she just is a joy. Everyone loves having her. She's never a big problem, and she's just literally changed my life, which is, it's just incredible.
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, Oscar got into bed with me about 1 o'clock this morning, and he said, "So, Mummy, got any questions for me?" I was like, "Yeah, why are you here? What do you want? What's going on? How can I help?"
Oh, bless him.
Oh my goodness. And the Kickstarter is open until this Sunday, is that right?
It is. Like this Sunday, I think it closes at 3:24 p.m, which is just, the most random time. But we started it at nearly 3:30 on the first day, so it's going to end at nearly 3:30 on Sunday. So
Please support me.
Amazing. Well, if you're listening to this on your iTunes app or wherever it is, just scroll down and check the description box, because I'm going to leave all the links there so you can head straight over from your iPhone. And Bex, I've loved chatting today. I feel really inspired. Thank you so much. And just I think that people will really resonate with your story and just how you've actually made things possible. I think as well at this time of year that we can think, oh, well, I'll do it next year, but actually you can create a lot of stuff in a short space of time, and it's a good time to start moving and shaking now rather than waiting till January the 1st when you're full of cheese and wine.
It will never happen if you wait. You have to do it now with whatever resources you have. You may think you don't have the ones you need, but trust me, you can make a start. Like, it is, I had 20 quid in a bunch of random jars. If I can, nearly get 20 grand for that, you can do anything.
Yes. Oh my God. You should get that on a t-shirt as one of the, if I can do this.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you haven't already, feel free to rate, review, and subscribe for all the brand new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. NickyRaby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices, availability, or just to have a chat with me, go to NickyRaby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests, and I'll see you next time.